last year was an unprecedented year. Online retailers had a scramble like everybody else. And as Lauren put it, necessity proved to be the mother of invention. And I'm going to talk about 6 innovations that online retailers came up with to respond to the pandemic, and that are good ideas that retailers will want to think about using in the year ahead. And also, I'm going to end with a little talk about a retailer that's very much in the news, and I think that's going to be a real source of creativity in the year ahead. Okay, so as Lauren pointed out, one of the big problems that retailers faced in the past year was just getting product to sell. Factories shut down. There were transportation issues. Often you couldn't get the goods. Now, there was a lot of talk about retailers should revamp their supply chains, but that's not a very easy thing to do. You know, it takes a long time to develop a relationship with a reliable supplier. It's not something you're going to change overnight. So there are other ways, and a retailer called Carrots, which sells clothing for horseback riding, realized that they were having problems getting product in. And so what they decided is that rather than wait, say, for example, to launch a spring collection until everything came in, they would just simply start marketing products as they arrived. And that was just a good adaptation, sort of like John App's learning about not painting the parking lot. But this is something you may want to think about. There's going to be supply chain disruptions in the future. We don't know what's going to cause them, where they're going to be, but you might want to think about just being prepared for them and having your marketing cadence that so you can just sell stuff as it comes in. Now, it was also a tough year for procrastinators. If you waited to the last minute to buy your holiday gifts, because products were in short supply, because there were delivery issues, it was often hard to know that you get gifts in terms of time for the holidays. So Walmart and Target did something that was very smart. They both made very prominent on their websites last minute gifts that were in stock and that would arrive in time for the holidays. And that's something that every retailer should be thinking about as we go into the 2021 holiday season is how do you make sure that consumers can find the things they want at the last minute. And also keep in mind that gift giving is a year-round thing. So it's something that you want to make gifts that are in stock prominent on your site all year. Another thing we saw last year that was we hadn't seen for a while was people lining outside retail stores. And this is because stores were mandated to limit the number of people inside. Now, obviously, this was a deterrent to people coming into stores. So a lot of retailers use their websites to make this less annoying for consumers. For example, Louis Vuitton made it possible to make appointments to come into the store so you wouldn't have to wait outside. LLB went a step further. It actually allowed consumers on their website to make appointments to come in during 1 hour before normal opening hours. So this gave consumers, particularly those concerned about exposure to the virus, more comfort that there wouldn't be a lot of other people in the store. Another way to avoid contact, but to still communicate with your consumers well, was to create virtual appointments. So retailers like Urban Outfitters and Blue Nile use their websites to have video chats with consumers. So this is a more personal interaction with the consumer and also allows the representative to show merchandise to the shopper. Urban Outfitters tried this on 2 of their sites and said it increased sales by 25%. Next slide, please. In China, live streaming retail shows is all the rage, and some estimates that it'll drive $60 billion in online sales this year. So these are basically like TV shopping shows, except they're on a website, which allows the kind of interaction between consumers and the host that you would get on a social media platform. Beta Brand, which makes dress pants that are manufactured out of comfy yoga pant material, tried this. It started second half of last year and had really good results. It found that consumers who interacted with the live streaming events converted a 10% rate, and the number of frequent shoppers increased by 40%. So, this is an idea. I mean, everyone loves online video. I think we're going to see a lot more live streaming in the years ahead. Another thing that happens when supplies are short and demand is high, which is what we faced last year in a lot of categories, is that prices go up. But it's hard for an online retailer to know at any given moment what's the right price for each product. Walkie Paws, which makes leggings for dogs, went with a artificial intelligence-driven pricing system from Price Stack, which told Lisa Baronoff, the founder, that leggings she was selling for $24.99 should be priced at $34.99. Now, this was in mid-November, right before Thanksgiving. She was nervous that she'd lose sales and have to drop her prices again, but she went with the machine and raised the prices, and it turned out she didn't have to go back on the price increase. It actually increased revenue per shopper by 57% and profit per shopper by 71%. So when things are changing fast, it's great to have a system that can collect a lot of data and make intelligent intelligent suggestions to you as a retailer. Finally, last year, a lot of consumers had to buy expensive products, the desks, computers, so they could work at home. And that led to a surge in installment payment options on websites. SimilarWeb, which tracks website activity around the world, says they saw a 60% increase in these pay later options. In a survey we did this year, what Digital Commerce 360 did this year, we found that 21% of retailers said that adding installment options would be critical to improving conversion this year, and 49% said it would be important. One retailer that implemented one of these pay and installment systems, Klarna, was camskins.com, which makes coverings for cameras and other devices. And they found that this conversion rate went up 2%, and that Klarna quickly accounted for more than 5% of sales. So this is definitely something that particularly retailers of expensive items want to consider, but it's not going to be for everybody because there are fees associated with it. And sometimes the vendors will decline a transaction because they deem the consumer not creditworthy. So it's something, it may not be for everyone, but something to consider. Now, I just want to wrap up by talking about GameStop. GameStop was very much in the news early this year. Their stock price went up 20 times, in part because it started getting talked up by a group on Reddit of small investors. But there's an e-commerce story behind this that I think is worth talking about. So there's a good reason why GameStop's stock price had plummeted over the years. Its sales were declining steadily. Can we go to the next slide, please? And the reason is that GameStop sells basically mainly cartridges for video game consoles, and more gaming was moving to streaming. So they were in a situation very much like Blockbuster 15 years ago, where people stopped going into stores to rent DVDs and were streaming on Netflix. That accounted for the decline in stock price. But what the folks on the Reddit group realized was that GameStop was making a radical transformation in its business model, and that driven by Ryan Cohen. He is the founder of online pet supplies retailer Chewy. Late last year, of course, Chewy was sold to PetSmart a few years ago for a few $1 billion. Ryan Cohen had a lot of money. He bought 13% of GameStop last year, and he embarked on a campaign to really transform GameStop into a different kind of company focused on e-commerce. He's been named head of a committee that designed to make GameStop a focused, technology-focused company, and now he's been nominated to be chairman of the company. So he's obviously going to have a lot of say what goes on. And in the last few months, GameStop has also added a slew of veteran e-commerce executives, some from Chewy, others from other successful online retailers like Amazon and Zulily. And last year, in fact, GameStop's online revenue did go up quite a bit. This wasn't mostly because of what Ryan Cohen did. It's largely because online sales generally increased rapidly, and because game console manufacturers introduced some new products, so it drove more demand for game cartridges. But GameStop has made a number of important changes over the last couple of years. It's closed 700 stores. It's invested in e-commerce fulfillment, and perhaps most importantly, it's dramatically expanded what it sells. It now sells computers, TVs, monitors, mobile gaming systems, and they say that the additional products they sell, gaming tables, all has increased their potential market by 5 times. So this is now a company that in the year ahead, I think is going to have there's a lot of new innovations coming. They're about to hire a new CEO. I think that with all the talent that they've brought in and the new focus on e-commerce, GameStop's going to produce a lot of innovations in the year ahead, and I'll certainly be watching them. So that's it for me. Back to you, Katie.